Well, it's taken Treasury 5 years to finish its consultation process on implementing a carbon tax, and it's now presented a draft bill that could force big polluters to pay a levy.
Well, the proposed legislation is part of government's plan to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by a third by 2020. Joining us in studio for more detail is Harmke Immink. She's director of Promethium Carbon. Harmke, thanks very much for coming in. So, do you think this is a signal that 2016 is the year that this carbon tax is finally introduced to South Africa? Because we do know that government is facing a big revenue shortfall.
Yes, carbon tax is definitely now on the cards. Everybody has been waiting. It was a long-awaited, will the carbon tax comes in? And the carbon tax came in very much on the same design architecture than what was expected. It's both a tax with an offset component. So it's a stick with a carrot component, which is great. And it will be now delayed, not really starting 2016, but commencing in 2017.
Let's take a look at the timing of this, because you've got to look at the state of the mining sector and other distressed sectors within a waning economy. How much further a dent does this potentially introduce?
There's both normal taxes has got a burden, and the aim of that is to see if there's not opportunities to mitigate. So the whole design is now a bit more revenue neutral in terms of the electricity part. So it's not coming, it won't really spike the electricity price as what was really feared, because the renewable energy levy that was built already into the electricity tariff will be sort of converted to a carbon tax. So the burden on the electricity will be passed through, but it's much less than expected. The diesel consumption will be the same. It will also be just paid on the pump price, on the fuel tax.
Is it fair to assume that the mining sector and, I suppose, heavy industrial sectors will be the worst affected by this new tax?
Actually, not the mining sector as much, because they will be big diesel consumers, so they will get the real direct taxpayers will be those with direct emissions and those using the fossil fuels, oil, gas, and
so Sasol, ArcelorMittal and the likes.
Very much so, yes.
Are companies rethinking more critically how they do business right now and the size of their carbon footprint? Because some industry commentators have been pretty skeptical about the ability of green tax to actually change any behavior at all.
The idea is to sort of create changes to really make companies look at the mitigation. Now, there's quite a number of ways, and even in industry in South Africa actually has embraced some of the various mechanisms to date, the cleaner development mechanism, some of the other mechanisms to say, can we actually switch from fossil fuel to renewable energy sources? Can we actually move from electricity that is fossil fuel based to renewable energy? So a lot of those initiatives are already in there, and they will find the benefit now for having moved towards there. Certain sectors will have difficulty because they are very much tied to very specific emissions and technologies, and changing that would be very difficult. But then there's also relief mechanisms for those with very specific process emissions, like the cement and the steel guys.
Have you been fielding lots of phone calls since Monday when the draft bill came out from potential clients?
Yes, very much. I think because it was so long anticipated, where people were saying, is it coming, is it not? Must we budget for it, must we not? If you do go into long-term contracts, is it something you build in or not? And at least now we've got a bit more clarity, and that regulatory certainty is actually helping investment even investment in green, in the green economy, and that is what you really want. So yes, companies are very concerned. Some are unnecessarily concerned because they won't be a direct carbon taxpayer, but they will feel the burden because they will have increased fuel tariffs or increased electricity bills.
Of course, South Africa would be the first developing country to impose this tax, and it even beats some of our developed market peers. How do you see this impacting our competitiveness in the global arena?
Carbon pricing is actually, most of our trading partners actually have some form of carbon pricing already built in. China has piloted it for the past couple of years in 7 different areas, and they are now looking to take 2 of those forward. So carbon pricing and moving towards the low carbon economy is something that is happening, and it's happening in other developing countries as well. The aim is just to say, how can we maybe make sure that we still have businesses while we actually move towards the low carbon economy?
Are any of your customers seeing this as a potential opportunity, particularly in the carbon trading arena, where it could actually be a benefit for them?
Yes, that's what's so unique about the South African design, is that we've got the stick and the carrot, and the offsets is really the carrot. And there's quite a number of offset projects that stopped because of the international carbon price was low. So it just didn't make sense. Now, at 120 Rand per tonne CO2 not emitted, it's actually a great opportunity. So we will probably see a lot of these offset opportunities starting up again. Pre-feasibilities that are just taking a bit further and really making a local demand for something that is called the carbon credit, which will create opportunities for companies in the green economy sector.
Harmke, let's leave it there. Thanks so much for having joined us in studio this evening. Of course, Harmke Immink is Director of Promethium Carbon.
Well, we're heading into a short break now. When we come back, we speak to